Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Conscious Conversations. Today, I have a special guest with us, Pam Espin. It's so nice to have you here. I firstly just want to give a little background on who you are and what you do. So, Pam is a licensed therapist, speaker, and founder of Beyond Purpose Therapy. She specializes in helping high performing women break the burnout cycle by addressing the deeper patterns that keep them stuck in survival mode. In her book, Not Built to Break, Pam blends personal story, clinical insight, and her trifecta method to help women reconnect with themselves and lead their lives from wholeness rather than exhaustion. Pam is on a mission to remind women that they are not broken. They are simply exhausted from carrying it all for far too long. And oh my gosh, this is like what every woman needs to hear. We get to let it go, right? We don't have to carry everything all the time. So, Pam, that is just incredible. And I just want to say thank you for spending the next hour or so with us to talk about all about you, the trifecta method, and everything that you're about. So, welcome.
Thank you so much, and thank you for the beautiful introduction. It still gives me goosebumps to hear about the book and the trifecta, and just to have the opportunity to be on your podcast. I feel very grateful.
Oh, thanks so much for being here. So, before we actually dive into the trifecta method and the book, you want to tell us a little bit about Pam, where you started, like your childhood, how you got to where you are now today?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So I was born in Ecuador, and my family and I migrated to Australia when I was 8 years old. And ever since I was a little girl, I always wanted to help. I always wanted to listen. I always was that friend that people just came to talk about their problems. I remember I was like an unofficial therapist since like the age of 16. And to be honest, I feel very lucky. I feel very lucky that I was able to find my calling from a very young age and pursue a career in counseling and psychotherapy and to get the opportunity to work in mental health because I truly believe that working in the mental health sector is a privilege.
Mm. It really is being able to help and guide people. This is amazing. So, When did you when did you first realize that this is what you wanted to do? Like this is your gift. Obviously, people would come to you in your childhood and ask, for your advice or just be really open and obviously feel trusted in you. From what age did you go, okay, this is the path I'm going to go down. I'm actually going to start my education with counseling and all of all of the things that you did in the
Well,
beginning.
it's a funny story, and you know how they say the universe will test you? It
Yeah.
definitely tested me. So when I was in high school, I was determined that I was gonna do a bachelor in business. So all my subjects were about business. I was certain that eventually I would run my own business one day, and yeah, I was a very dedicated student. Until the day that I got my results back. So I think back then, and this feels like a century, more than a century ago, but it used to be called UAI. Until I got my UAI results, and I remember just looking at the screen and realizing I have enough to get into psychology, and that's when everything changed. In that moment, it all changed because I went to my mom and I was like, "Mom, I'm doing psychology. I got the percentage that I needed to get in." And she was just like, "What? Like, where did this psychology come from? Like, you're doing business. You've always spoken about business. What are you talking about?" And yeah, I decided to pursue a degree in psychology and actually failed the first year. And I remember just thinking to myself, I hate statistics. I don't want to do this. And clearly my results were saying that as well. So the first year of psychology, I realized this is not for me.
Yeah,
This is
right.
not for me. And what I did again is I took another detour and I pursued a bachelor's in social work. And that's when I realized, wow, this is my calling. Like, I really want to be an advocate in mental health. I really want to be supporting those vulnerable populations. And that's really how it started. But of course, there was another test that the universe sent me. Just as I was about to finish, we had to do our final placement. And the teacher said to me, okay, this is your final placement. You're going to a mental health unit. And yeah, you're going to complete 6 months of full time work there. And I remember just looking at her and I was like, I cannot go there. Send me anywhere else. I have a phobia to hospitals. I can't. And she said,
Yeah.
okay, no worries. If you don't do this placement, you simply don't graduate. So the choice is yours. I was like, okay, well, I guess I have to face my fears. And I remember going to the placement terrified. And I just remember the first week of my mental health placement. And I was like, this is it. Like, this is where I want to be. This is my calling. And yeah, for the listeners, sometimes you just really get that feeling in your heart that you're just like in the right place. So
Yeah.
life took me on a bit of a detour, but here we are. And I think 6 years after doing my social work degree, I decided to pursue counseling and psychotherapy. So we always find a way. Your dreams always
Totally.
find a way to come back to you.
Absolutely. And imagine if you had just stayed in your fear and let fear win, you wouldn't have gone into that mental health hospital and you wouldn't have done what you're doing today. So because you actually stepped into the fear and did it anyway, look at where you are and what you've created. It's amazing.
Yes, yes, we can't let fear win.
No, absolutely not. And do you take women through that as well? Like with the Okay, let's start with the trifecta method. Do you want to explain to us what the trifecta method is and then how you bring that
Yeah,
forward for men and women and whoever it is that you're treating these days with mental health?
yeah, definitely. So, with everything that we do, I truly believe that we have to walk the path. That's my motto, and I truly believe in that. And like I said before, I've been in the mental health sector for 10 years now. And in that 10 years, obviously, I'm still a human and I still have my own journey. And whilst I was holding space for my beautiful clients, I was doing my own work.
Mm,
And it came to a point where I realized I'm like, I've done the therapy, I've got 3 degrees, I've done all these bunch of different courses, I've done personal development, and yet I still feel half healed. I still felt like my mind understood everything, but my body was still offline. And in 20, I can't remember, 2008, I believe it is. Well, I'm gonna, no, 2018. 2018, I experienced my own burnout. And going through that journey was one of the hardest journeys that I had to go through because I realized how much misinformation there was or lack of information there was for burnout recovery. And me being me, I was like, okay, I'm going to heal myself, but I'm going to learn and document everything along the way so that somebody else doesn't have to go through what I'm going through. And so that's how it started. That's how it started. I started to document my journey and look at the barriers and look at the things that weren't working. And that's when I got to a point where I'm like, yeah, I've done all the mindset work, I've done all the courses, I've done all of that, but there's something missing here. And that's when I pursued somatic therapy. That's when I started to realize, burnout isn't just a mindset. burnout is a mindset and a body and a heart connection.
Mm.
Yeah, like and then as I work through my somatic therapy, I realized, you know what? The heart needs to also be included. And that's what the trifecta method is all about. It's integrating the mind, the body, and the heart. Because if we continuously only focus on the mindset, then we're going to continue to be disconnected from our body. If we only focus on healing our body, then our mindset's going to be disconnected. And if we focus only on our heart, then we're always going to be in our feels, which is going to have an impact. So you can't truly heal. This is my personal opinion. You can't truly heal unless you integrate the three.
Mm.
Right? That's a long winded answer for you, but
It's perfect. It's perfect. And I feel the same. You absolutely get to integrate it all.
Mm.
Yeah. And I love that you had all of the knowledge and the science based and all of that kind of thing, but it was the heart and the connection with your body that really like brought it all together.
Yeah,
Mm.
absolutely.
I love that.
Absolutely. And to share with you a little bit about the heart for me and what I didn't realize kept fueling my burnout was this underlying belief that I was not good enough. And I know that a lot of us, women, men, humans, we often have that fear of not being enough. And we have that fear of not being enough because our ultimate need is to be loved. And if and we believe that if we're not enough, then we're not going to be loved, and that essentially puts us at threat of
Mm.
survival. Um, why I'm sharing this with you is because I had to really dig deep and really go down to the core of why I kept burning out. And when I realized that my behaviors were coming from very young childhood conditioning, that's when I realized, wow, like half the time I'm not even conscious that I'm doing this. I'm not even conscious that I'm self sacrificing and over functioning and letting perfectionism drive me. And when I really dug deep, I was like, wow, there's a core belief here because my dad passed away when I was 3 years old. And my little brain at the time made this story that he he left me because I wasn't good enough. I wasn't a good enough girl. I wasn't good enough to be loved. And that essentially fueled a lot of my upbringing and my adolescence and my adulthood. So it was really going back to that root cause and realizing that my dad died from a natural disaster. He didn't abandon me by choice. He loved me for the years that he was here. And really connecting to that is what really unlocked my heart and
Mm.
integrated everything else.
Mm. Yes. And isn't it, this is really one of the key things is to go to that root cause and to look at the different programming, the different beliefs, the different conditioning and the patterns that we play out. You really have to go there, don't you? You have to go there. You have to feel it. You have to see it from different perspectives. Otherwise, we're just running through these same patterns over and over and over on repeat, right?
Mhm.
Like if you didn't actually go to the depths and find that, it would have just continued to play out.
Mhm.
So
Yes, and
how do you when we say we go to the depths, how would you describe to one of your clients how they can actually get there? Like, do you take them through a process? Like, how do you get to that root cause?
look, there's different modalities, there's different ways. I What I would always advise listeners is to do it with a person that's accredited first of all, because the risk of re-traumatizing is quite high and something that is not spoken about enough. So before anything, I would say that firstly, you start with someone that you trust and they have the right training to go through that journey with you, because then it's about unpacking the schemas that we develop over time. And the modality that I like to use is schema therapy, because schema therapy really goes down to the core of what are these core beliefs that are running unconsciously. So to answer your question, I would say schema therapy is the starting point. And then once we identify what those core beliefs are, then we look at reprocessing some of these memories that are stored in the brain. And the modality then that I use is EMDR therapy, which is very well known for treating many disorders, but most importantly, post traumatic stress disorder. So
Mm.
yeah, so I think it's up to everyone what they choose to do. My journey was to see a psychologist and to go through my own journey of discovering how my schemas developed. And then once I had knowledge around that, then I decided to commit to EMDR therapy and then also became an EMDR therapist myself, because I just saw that there was so much power to that. And I really then realized that traditional therapy was a little bit outdated, if I'm being honest.
Mhm.
Because the beautiful thing about EMDR therapy is that yes, you're talking about it, but you're also working with the body,
Yeah.
and that is a missing piece.
Yes. And it's so powerful. Like our body remembers so much and then it stores all these emotions and the energy behind it. So, yeah, going into that and feeling it all,
Mm.
it's the best work really, isn't it?
It
And
really is.
I love that you've had lived experience in this. So you've been through these different things. You've worked on it all yourself. So then you get to then bring that forward for your clients and hold them in that because you've been in it yourself. So you know exactly what's happening
Yeah,
for them in their
absolutely.
body.
Absolutely. And you know what? One of the things that I again like truly believe is to be able to truly help someone, you have to walk the path. You have to feel the experience of what it feels to be held in a safe place, but also experience the fears and the messy middle in recovery and the identity shifts and everything that goes on. Because if
Mm,
you're not feeling it and and you don't have that experience behind you, yeah, I feel like you're only gonna understand someone not at the depths that lived experience teaches you.
yeah, I 100% agree. And unfortunately, we have to go through all of that to be able to give like even, more because we are so cracked open from, you know, I feel like everything that we do experience in life, the really horrible things that we've been through are actually blessings because we get to use that to gift to the world,
Yes,
right?
absolutely. And there's a beautiful quote. Not everyone relates to it. No, not everyone likes it. I personally like it, but your mess is your message.
Mm,
You know, what you've been through so that you can help someone one day. And
love it.
most importantly, help yourself first.
Yeah. That's the number one thing, right? Is you actually get to heal, love, support yourself first.
Mm.
So the trifecta method, I love it. Mind, body, heart. Is this what your book is about? How the trifecta method came about?
Mhm.
So what's the name of the book?
So my book is Not Built to Break, and it's a
Not
combination of my story. It's a combination of insights that I've learned through the work that I do. It is essentially the trifecta method in practice. And most importantly, what drove me to write this book was the passion to help women out there. because I'm very conscious and aware that not everyone can start therapy. Not everyone has the financial resources to do that. And I felt a calling that could no longer stay in the therapy room. I felt the calling of, I've got this knowledge, and if I can put that into a book and help at least one woman, then I'm happy with that. And that's how Not Built to Break developed, because I was like, you know what? Women are not born to burn out. They are not born to feel broken. They are born to lead from wholeness. And that's essentially what I take my readers on, a bit of a journey of, how do we go from living in survival to getting to a point of being able to lead from wholeness.
Mm. I am so excited for this book to come out. When is it being released? When are you launching?
We're launching on the 1st of May, and I'm very excited.
I'm very excited. I've been on this little journey with you for, wow, how long now? Maybe 6 months we've been in each other's world.
Yeah, I feel like it was a little bit longer than that because we were obviously doing the same mentorship. But yeah, you know what, it's taken me 8 months to write it, and it's taken me 6 years to actually decide to do it. I was
Mm.
flicking through some notes the other day, and I realized that I wanted to write a book from 2020, and there were just, different things and
What
fears
you
of
were you
things
were
that got in the
sabotaging
way.
yourself, right? You were sabotaging it all yourself by not
Yeah.
doing it. The thoughts were
Yeah.
there.
But you know what? The beautiful thing about that is I realized that I needed to become the woman to write that book.
Mm.
And divine timing is always the right timing.
Totally agree. Totally agree. Because over the past few years, this is where you've built yourself and grown so much as well. You're speaking on stages, you're actually out there. The ripple effect is happening for the Trifecta Method, your story, and you're gaining all of this that you get to then put into the book as well. So
Hmm.
so okay, so since being in Australia and the Trifecta Method happening, what what has Pam been doing? What are you doing within your life to show people, show women who you are and to call them into your world? What are you experiencing?
Uh, to be honest, this year and last year was really about stepping into authenticity. It was really about removing the masks and letting go of, I'm a therapist, I can't behave this way. I'm only a therapist. And realizing, you know what? I'm a woman, I'm a leader, I am an advocate, I am whatever I want to be, essentially, right?
Mhm.
My title doesn't define me. And I think that was a big revelation that I had at the end of last year, where I was like, you know what? I want to go and live a life that actually inspires women, that teaches them, you know what? You can pursue your dreams, you can do your heart's desires, and you can do it wholeheartedly. Because I often see a lot of women get lost in the hustle culture, get lost in, I should be doing this by the age of this. I'm not
Mm.
met these milestones, so therefore I'm failing. And really helping women challenge the idea that success is so different for everyone, and your model of success is your model of success, and you get to write what success means to you. So what I've been doing the last 12 months has really been that, just living my life authentically, showing women that whatever you set your mind to, you can achieve. And those those thoughts have actually helped me through the last 6 months. As you know, I decided to take the leap and move to another state. I decided to move to the Gold Coast, and it was something that was coming, but it was something that kind of just it took a moment of decision.
Mm.
And you were in that room when I decided to make that decision.
Yeah, and it happened like bang, bang, bang within I think you even set a date, but when you were there, you decided in that moment, that day, the next day, you're looking at properties and then, like, a couple of weeks later, you've changed states. You're in
Yeah.
a completely different state because you took action.
Hmm. Yeah, that's it, right? Like sometimes it's not only committing to the fact that you have a choice to live the life that you want to live, but it's also about taking massive action to
Mhm.
pursue that life. And for the last 6 months, I have been settling into a new state that I absolutely love and adore. But I have also been, you know, coping with the fact that my family and my friends are in a different state. And it's been really about that decision to just put me first for now. Put me first for now so that I can commit to writing my book and I can commit to making it the success that I believe it will be. But that has taken me, that brave decision to just go all in into what I truly believe. And that's what I believe for not built to break.
I love that. You know, a lot of women are out there being a people pleaser, putting everyone else first. Do you feel like that's where the burnout and everything comes from? Because they're always giving to everyone else, like you giving to your mom and your family and your friends and all of your clients. And then in this moment, you're like, I'm doing this for me. I'm putting myself first. Not
Yeah,
many women do put themselves first. And I
yeah.
feel like that is where the burnout and everything does come from.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And this will be hard for a lot of listeners to hear because we have been conditioned from very, very, very young, especially if you're a millennial out there, that you have to put everyone else before you. That's just how it is. And for some cultures, there is no other way. Coming from a Latin American background, you had no choice. You were, and again, I don't want to speak for everyone, but as a Latin migrant, I was conditioned that I always had to put my family first and I always had to put everyone else's needs before my own, and that's just the way we do things. But then when I started to challenge that, that's when I started to see, I was like, I got to a point where I was like, according to who? According to who? Uh, is this a conditioning that came from a woman or is this a conditioning that came from a man? Because and one of the things that I've been really struggling with lately is and this is completely off topic, but one of the things that I've been really struggling with lately is seeing so many women burning out because they are working full time, they are cleaning full time, they are looking after the children, they are trying to look after themselves, they're trying to please their husbands or partners. Like they've got so many cups running and they're not taking a second to question, are you physically capable to do all of that? Was your body actually designed to carry all of that? And my little irritation at the moment is traditional men expecting traditional values or expectations on women when they're not able to deliver that traditional lifestyle to the woman. So what I'm trying to say is back then, back in the traditional world of men work and women stay home and clean and look after the children, that might have worked back then. But now the reality is we can't expect women to work full time and also do the traditional roles.
Mm,
And this is why I'm seeing a lot of women burn out because they're trying to live in a way that is just purely not sustainable anymore.
mm, I agree. So
Yes.
I wonder how we can how can women change this for, you know, to not be in the burnout, and are we openly communicating this to our partners, to our husbands, and saying, "Hey, like, I actually need your help at home to help me do the cleaning and the cooking and the looking after the kids. Like, you're a dad too. Like, let's lighten the load together." Are they actually asking or saying to the man, "Hey, I need like an hour or so in the morning for myself, or a bit of time in the morning, a bit of time in the afternoon," so they get to then fill their cup. Because, as we know, we can't pour from an empty cup. You must give back to yourself. What do we do? How do we change this? How do we help women in this situation?
Yeah, look, everybody's going to have a different story. And I want to respect everyone listening here because obviously what might work for me might not work for you. What might work for somebody else might not work for you. And obviously I want to be respectful to everyone's journey. But the truth is, we've got to come back to challenging our conditioning, what we have been programmed to believe. Because if we are running on an outdated program, of course our body's not going to cooperate. Of course our body is going to burn out. So what we really have to start is really go back to our conditioning and look at, is this conditioning serving me in 2026?
Mm,
Is setting myself the expectation that I have to work full time and have the house clean every single day and have everything neat and tidy and perfect, is that actually going to be sustainable in 2026? Or do we need to start challenging this conditioning and sitting down with your partner, with your husband, with your flatmates, whoever you live with, and have the conversation of, how can we make this a joint effort? How
mm,
can we make this a sustainable effort? How can we set some rules and boundaries around our well being?
mm,
But it all starts with the conditioning because right now I will be shaking a lot of feathers. I already know that anyone listening right now might be getting a little bit, triggered for for a word, but that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to trigger you. What I'm trying to get you to do is reflect. What is the conditioning that you're living your life with? And is that currently serving you? And if it's not serving you, how can we look at changing that to make it more sustainable? How do
mm.
we get you from living in survival mode to living in a life that's actually fulfilling and true to you?
Yes, this is perfect. And of course, this is coming up right now because in my 5-day reset at the moment, this was one of the things that came up. What Why do you feel like you have to pick up all the toys and have the dishes done before bed and a clean, you know, what whose program is this? Whose conditioning is this, that that's what has to happen? What if you just go to bed and get a great night's sleep and get up early and then like clean the toys up? Like, the thing is awareness around what the conditioning is. Is this my belief or has this come from someone else? Like, does it have to be all perfect and in place? What if your house is just lived in and full of love? And who cares if there's toys lying around or you didn't like sweep for a day or vacuum for a day? You know, it's
Mhm.
actually looking at the belief or the conditioning, because a lot of women just go through the motions without even looking at what the conditioning is. And I think this is where you're saying it might trigger or ruffle some feathers, because a lot of women haven't actually been told or are aware of what is this programming? What is this conditioning? Where did it come from?
Mhm.
And this is where the work gets to start, right? When you actually look at that.
Yeah, and most importantly, it comes from a place of love. It really is about realizing that you are the narrator of your story and you can always change the programming.
Mm. I'm a massive yes for this. This is this is something that I love speaking about. Conscious conversations. We get to actually talk about the real stuff. Like let's bring light on this subject. Like let's shine a light. Where is it coming from?
Hmm.
Oh,
Yeah, and look, to answer your question, where is it coming from? It really is coming back to childhood. The reality is our
yeah,
programming,
but I feel like it's before that.
yeah. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, so what I mean by the conditioning before childhood is what were our parents conditioned to believe? What were their beliefs? And then their parents, I feel like it's come from who knows where the conditioning started and how much it's programmed into them and then into us. And I feel like this is why our generation are the chain breakers because we're actually looking at it.
Yes, 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 yes. And I couldn't agree with you more. That is so so true because when I was saying it comes to our childhood, what I was going to say is by the age of 7, our worldview has already developed, right? But what's most important is to understand, where did that come from? You know, who is, I don't want to use the word responsible, because at the end of the day, our parents can only ever do their best. And if they weren't taught any better, then it's going to be hard for them to do better. And this is something that I cover in the book, that it is about understanding that two truths can coexist. In my case, there was parentification, but there was a lot of love there as well. And it's about understanding that there's duality in life. There is duality in understanding that, yes, you might be conditioned a certain way, and yes, that conditioning came from somewhere, but that conditioning came from someone else, and then someone else, and someone else. And it's about understanding that these generational beliefs and conditionings that we were conditioned and programmed with are no longer sustainable in 2026. And that is the thing that we really need to proactively support women to understand, that that conditioning from the 1800s is just not going to cut it anymore.
Yeah. Love that. I love that you speak into that in the book. I love that you're putting it out there for everyone to see, to question, to bring awareness to.
Yeah, absolutely. And and I probably am still scared of putting my story out there because it's very personal and it's very close to home. But if I'm not walking the path, how can I truly help someone
Mm.
really understand their journey more deeply?
Yeah, I think it's really important for people to share their stories and be really vulnerable. Everyone has a story, everyone has the past, everyone has something to share. So for you doing this, it's just you're being a light for other women to actually do the same as well. So although it feels uncomfortable for you or vulnerable, thank you for doing it. Thank you for shining the light for women, for being the leader, because you are a leader. You're showing up in ways that says to other women, you get to do this. You get to show up like this. You get to see where your story came from. So thank you for doing that.
Thank you. That really means a lot. And Yes, the thing is, we're all lioness. We all have a lioness inside of us. It's really just about coming back to her and tapping into that inner force that we have to for all of us to be leaders.
Mm, yeah, it's in us. It's in us, isn't it? It's like taking our power back, reclaiming our voice, reclaiming who we are, and sharing that. Because for so long we've been suppressing emotions, and from like childhood, be quiet, go to your room and deal with, like, if you're going to cry, go to your room and deal with your emotions. So it's just, this is where it is. It's like suppress, suppress, suppress. I can't share. I can't be vulnerable. So yeah, it's incredible when you actually do take back your power and you are living a life, leading the way, you know? It feels amazing, doesn't it?
It does. It does. And if we can feel it, why can't we help other women to feel it?
Mm, yes. Oh, I love this. I love that we get to show women the way. And I just love that. I just absolutely love seeing you on stages, because that is a fear of mine, and I've done a little bit of training on it so I can get on stages, but every time I see you on a stage and you step into your power and you share your story and who you are, it just puts that little bit more like hope inside of me that, hey, I know Pam's out there doing it. So, that is showing me that, yeah, guess what, Hayley, you can actually do that too. So there's a ripple effect. So thank you for doing that.
Thank you for saying that. I really honestly value that because don't get me wrong, like you can do the trainings and you can do it 1,000 times, but the truth is the nerves never really go away. Like you just learn to connect to the fact that when you get an opportunity to be on stage, it's not about you. It's about what you can deliver for somebody else. And I think leaning into that has really helped me to get out of the way and be like, no, my message needs to get out there and I need to get out of the way.
Yes, it does. The trifecta method. Heart, brain, body, heart. I love that you're sharing this. So, how can people actually find you, Pam? Where's you the go to? Do you have a website?
Yeah, so they can find me at beyondpurposetherapy.com. And they can also find me on Instagram, Pam_Espin. And you're all welcome to follow me, follow my journey, and most importantly, let me help you change your narrative
Mm,
because you are deserving of that. And I believe in you.
yes, amazing. If you were to share one thing to the women out there today for them to focus on today, what would it be?
I would like to share something that someone very dear to me shared with me. And I believe that that's something that has really helped me through the different waves of life. And that was, Pam, when the internal world, when you are overwhelmed, externalize. And when your external world is overwhelming you, internalize.
Mm,
Really believe in the power of that because sometimes our environment is overwhelming us or overstimulating us. And sometimes we've just got to come within and just take a breather, be alone, and just allow yourself to slow down. But there are also other times where your internal world might be creating all of the anxiety and the fear and the overwhelm. And that's when I want you to go out there and get into an environment that is supportive, ask for help, go to a cafe and just be around people and just allow yourself to be held by the world.
I love that. Some great advice. Well, thank you so much for joining us on Conscious Conversations. I look forward to reading the book. It's coming out in May, everyone. So make sure you're following Pam. You're ready for the book launch. And thank you for everything that you do for women. I absolutely love and adore you. And I'm excited to see you on more stages.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me, and thank you for everyone listening.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone. Love that. See you on the next one, guys.